and welcome to Man's Model Moments. Today I'm following up from the In the Skies of China unboxing with another kit from ICM, the 1/48 scale Mitsubishi Ki-21B bomber, also known as the Sally. If you know ICM or have watched any of my other unboxings of their kits, you'll be familiar with the glossy top cover over the very sturdy flip opening box format that they employ. Inside we can immediately see the large glossy instruction book, and flipping through this we can find the decal sheet slotted inside for safekeeping. Below that is a single large plastic bag containing all the plastic for the kit, which really does fill the space in the box. Underneath the plastic is the usual ICM paint chart. The instruction book cover is the usual glossy full colour affair with art, history and paint references. But this kit also features a QR code in the lower right corner. Scanning this will take you to ICM's video instruction guide to this kit. This is a really innovative and welcome development for manufacturers, and ICM should be applauded for introducing this feature for its newer kits. Although their instructions are first rate, an animated version of this is absolutely superb and adds so much to the ease of building, and I really think other manufacturers can learn a lot here. Being able to see what the static diagrams are trying to show you and how they look afterwards is just fantastic, and should eliminate any of those ambiguous steps where you're not quite sure how the parts are supposed to be assembled. Back to the printed instructions, and the first few sides all cover the parts layouts on the various frames. We then start the actual build by selecting the right rear tail section and then head into the build proper. The instructions are clear and unambiguous, as we've come to expect from the latest ICM releases, and the kit also features a full bomb load. Progressing through, you can see you get a full interior in this kit, including fuselage fuel tanks. The wealth of small interior details here is very impressive throughout, including elements like spare ammo magazines for the defensive armament. The instructions are slightly unusual in that they seem to call for the whole fuselage to be constructed, including rear stabilisers, rudder, etc., as well as a substantial glazing, before even starting the wings. Suffice to say, I don't think I'll be following that order too strictly. Aside from that, the construction elsewhere is logical, and both the undercarriage and full engine assemblies look like they'll be very convincing. After the main construction steps, you're presented with ICM's little party piece of their masking guides, which again I wish more manufacturers would adopt, though as I said with the prior 1/72nd scale version of this kit, given the extent of the glazing, an aftermarket masking set is probably a good labour and sanity saving device. Following this are the 4 painting and decaling guides reproduced in full colour in the glossy outer leaves, although there's surprisingly not as much variation here as in the 1/72nd set, probably because this is a slightly later variant. The decal sheet in this kit looks great, and includes pieces for the main flight instruments and ancillary panels. The colour overall is dense and well printed, and register is perfect. The Hinamaru look fantastic, without any translucence that can be the downfall of these symbols. The other markings are also excellent, and I hope they're as easy to use as they are pleasing to the eye. We'll start the plastic by looking at the separately bagged transparencies. Opening these up and taking a look over them, they look crisply cast, extremely clear, and feature frosted areas for the framing where appropriate. They're commendably thin, and given they're such a feature of the aircraft, it's important they're as well produced as they are. Next we're taking a look at one of the wing sprues. The wing upper and lower surfaces are each a single piece, with smooth surface and delicately engraved panel line detail. Other items on this sprue have good detail and crisp casting, including the control surfaces and inner fuselage fillets. and the overall impression is one of quality engineering. Interestingly, the two wing sprues are not the same in this kit, the first having those control surfaces, whereas this features elements like the bomb bay doors, main internal floors and bulkheads, as well as the upper gondola piece. Once again, there is good detail across the frame, including some excellent detail on areas like that around the pilot station. The next frame houses the main fuselage sections, which have some impressively complex moulding for them and the wing roots. The 4 engine nacelles are also on this frame, as well as some interior detail like the fuel tanks and instrument panel. The exterior fuselage features more of that delicate panel lining, whereas the interior of the pieces have internal ribbing detail throughout too. This smaller frame has the later style tail of the 1B version, together with all the associated stabilisers and control surfaces. The former have the common, subtle but sharp engraved panel lines, whereas the latter feature nicely represented fabric over frame effects. Next up are 2 identical frames featuring all of those fiddly bits that we need duplicates of. These include the bombs, together with the extremely fine pieces that go with them, all of the radial engine pieces, the wheels, and the other elements of the undercarriage. The finesse and the detail here is really impressive, as we'll see on the close-ups. The last frame is also one of fiddly bits, and there are some to point out. The first are the machine guns, which are very nicely rendered. Items like the seats and other small interior items are very finely cast, and that's really demonstrated well in these oxygen bottles, and also in the extremely finely cast loop antenna. You can really see that in the close-up shots here, where just how fine some of that detail is apparent, with these pieces being only marginally thicker than my scalpel blade. Here are those oxygen bottles again, and you can see the fine detail on this side panel, and even the buttoning on the seat. You can now see the fuel tanks here with their surface detail, and the various internal elements here showing just how much is picked out. You can also see the various machine guns, their mounts, and associated extras here, which are all really superb. Moving across to the duplicated engine frame, we start with these tiny pieces and the many spare ammo cases for the machine guns. This fine piece here is very well supported, and the bomb sway braces are nicely cast too. There is some great detail on the wheel hubs, and the connecting rod assembly is again very well protected. The engines show nice cooling fin detail on the cylinders, and smaller items like these bottles and prop hubs are crisp and sharp. The very fine items are again well protected, and the casting level here across the board is exceptional. Here you can see just how sharp those panel lines on the stabilisers are, along with the other engraved detail. You can also see the fabric effect on the rudder here, which I think is pitched just at the right level for this scale, as well as for things like the control tab actuators. The tail section again demonstrates that crispness in moulding all across it, from the smaller details to the large surfaces, and that's repeated for all of the similar items on this frame. Here you can see the main instrument panel with its raised dial detail, though of course we also have the decal for this too. Here is another of the fuselage fuel tanks. And then we're onto the main fuselage and the very sharp cutouts for the windows at the rear, including the portal for the door. Moving down, you can see the rear wing root blending into the fuselage here, which means that there's no filling to do on these complex curves, which is great. More delicate panel lining and this stepped wing union to provide a positive fit. On the interior we can see some small shallow ejector pin marks, but these are mostly restricted to unseen areas or where they'll be covered. We also have the interior ribbing and the wing root join, which will be covered by an interior panel, so you won't see this. There are recesses for various internal items here, and you can see this pattern of internal detail and attachment points continues into the front of the aircraft. Taking a look at the interior floor, you can see the bucket part of the pilot seat moulded in here, along with other details. The bomb bay doors are a single piece, though you may want this open as there is quite a lot of detail for it as shown in the lower part of this bulkhead. Moving on to the wing, and this really shows the sort of external detail you're getting to help you when you come to paint the aircraft. This continues down the full length of the wing, which will really allow you to get some definition here no matter what paint scheme you choose. Two different types of excellent casting demonstrated here, one a very smooth complex curve, one demonstrating a lot of nice cast detail on a bulkhead. The undersides of the wings show exactly the same level of superbly smooth cast surfaces combined with sharp fine panel lining. We also have some superb raised detail for these strengthening pieces towards the wing roots. Here are those blanking covers for the casting holes in the fuselage. And the separate bomb bay doors if you want to show off that interior detail. Turning this frame over, you can see the inside of these have the appropriate ribbing detail on them too. Next to these is this internal strut which has further cast detail on it. Lastly, looking at the clear sprue, we can see that frosted effect on the framing, helping us either mask or paint these items. Performing the old scalpel test here, we can see just how clear these parts are, with very little optical distortion looking through these parts. All of these parts, like the smaller ones here, through to those main greenhouse pieces, are excellently cast and continue the overall impression with this kit of a really top quality model. So that's ICM's 1/48 scale Sally. Having built the 1/48 scale Beaufort, which incidentally will be my next aircraft build video on the channel, so do remember to subscribe and set the notification bell to all so you don't miss that when it comes out, I must say that the Sally looks just as good. if not better than that kit. And if this is anything like your subject, then I don't think you're going to be disappointed. ICM are consistently hitting it out of the park with their recent releases, and they're solidly becoming a firm favourite of mine. The overall production quality, the way everything is packaged, the choice of subjects and the options they give you are all really good, and they just seem to keep going from strength to strength. Having seen what Italieri and Revell are releasing for 2024, which includes many kits from ancient back catalogues, it really is amazing to see such a young and dynamic company continuously and consistently putting out such great releases. Now of course, ICM did provide this kit as a review sample, but as I always review any kit in the same way and show you all of the things that I see, I think you can make your own minds up about the quality of this kit and whether it is for you or not. I can honestly say, however, that I have no hesitation in thoroughly recommending it to anyone interested in 1/48 scale bombers or Japanese subjects. I'm confident you won't be disappointed. That's all for this instalment of Man's Model Moments. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel for more like it, and share this video with others you think would also enjoy it. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and if you're feeling generous, then I also have a Patreon, which is absolutely the best way of helping me to grow the channel and produce more content like this. With that, I hope you have plenty of modelling moments of your own, and I look forward to welcoming you on the next video.